had been Ethan's executive assistant for 9 years, working diligently and faithfully. Just as I was finally about to be promoted to vice president, he parachuted his first love into the position meant for me. He claimed she had better qualifications and was more capable. Staring at the man I'd loved for a decade, I found myself speechless. Walking into the office that morning, colleagues greeted me with smiles. "Congratulations. We can't call you Emily anymore, it's VP Carter now. After years of grinding, you finally made it. Don't forget us little people. VP, you're buying drinks tonight, right? We're all under your leadership now." I pressed my lips together, trying to suppress a smile. "It's not official yet. Let's not jump the gun. Come on. It's just paperwork at this point," they insisted. "You're too humble, Emily." Waving them off, I headed to the boardroom. Their enthusiasm wasn't empty flattery. I'd been with New Horizons since Ethan's sophomore year startup days. My role went far beyond typical assistant duties, crafting proposals, negotiating deals, shaping corporate strategy, even managing Ethan's personal affairs. New Horizons' success was as much my achievement as Ethan's. This promotion was earned. The celebratory mood evaporated when I entered the boardroom. The executives sat in heavy silence, their faces tight with suppressed anger and pity. My gaze flew to Ethan at the head of the table. Beside him sat a woman with cascading dark hair, her pearl-white dress glaringly out of place in the corporate setting. My stomach dropped, yet I clung to fragile hope. "Ethan, who's this?" He avoided eye contact, feigning nonchalance. "This is Isabella, our new VP. Show her HR processes later. Her office will be adjacent to mine." I stood frozen, humiliation burning through me like a slap. The department manager Michael slammed his palms on the table. "What the hell? Ethan? We agreed Emily was getting promoted." HR manager nodded grimly. "We've all seen Emily's contributions. This last-minute switch is unacceptable." Ethan's expression darkened. "Am I the CEO here? Or are you?" Michael stood his ground. "You may be CEO, but this isn't your personal fiefdom. You can't just appoint some outsider as VP. Outsider?" Ethan sneered. "Isabella has a Columbia MBA in financial economics. Her credentials surpass Emily's. I'm making decisions for the company's benefit, not playing favorites." I stared at Isabella's painfully familiar features and laughed bitterly. "Cut the crap, Ethan. This isn't about credentials. She's your ex. Our history went back to high school. While others might not recognize her, I remembered Isabella vividly, Ethan's college sweetheart. The dramatic breakup when she chose grad school abroad over his startup dreams. Though women came and went over the years, none had lasted as long as their relationship. Ethan leaned back in his leather throne, smirking. "So what if she's my ex? Doesn't change the facts. She's better qualified. Face reality, Emily." The meeting imploded, ending with me slamming the conference room door. He'd humiliated me publicly instead of having a private conversation. Michael, who I'd recruited 7 years ago, stormed to my workstation fuming. Word is Isabella got fired overseas for some scandal. Can't get hired anywhere else now. Did you see how he threw us all under the bus for his little flame? Disgusting. I remained silent, tracing the deep scratches on my battered desk. After 9 years, I still didn't merit a private office. Back when Ethan claimed office space was tight, I naively agreed since I was practically living in his office anyway. But now Isabella waltzes in with her mahogany executive suite and top-tier MacBook Pro. Suddenly space constraints just meant I wasn't worth the investment. "Just quit already." Michael slammed his water bottle, face flushed. "We'll follow you anywhere. This shitshow of a company's days are numbered." I traced the rim of my coffee mug. "Would you really walk away?" The silence stretched. We built Xingqing from scratch, the late nights eating instant noodles at folding tables. The thrill of our first major client. This wasn't just a job anymore. The C-suite shared my resentment. While they couldn't openly defy Ethan, their compliance came in malicious obedience. Michael accidentally routed only problematic accounts to Isabella. Department heads played dumb about project timelines until formally petitioned. Ethan cornered me during lunch hour. "You've diversified your responsibilities beyond typical secretarial work," he began, examining his Mont Blanc. "With Isabella's arrival, perhaps it's best to refocus on core duties." My knuckles whitened around the chair back. "You're taking my clients. Transitioning," he corrected smoothly. "We're streamlining operations." The floor tilted. Those accounts were written in whiskey burns and hospital bracelets. I remembered our first make-or-break deal, the client's tobacco-stained grin as he lined up shot glasses like dominoes. $1 million per drink. "Kid. Take it or leave it." Ethan had stormed out. But I'd stayed, swallowing 8 shots of single malt until the contract ink blurred. They pumped my stomach at 3 a.m. When I woke to dawn light streaking through hospital blinds, Ethan's tear-streaked face hovered above mine. "You idiot," he'd choked out, fingers digging into my wrist. "We could have started over. You could have died." I'd smiled through the oxygen tube. But our baby lived. Back then, we called Xingqing our child. The intimacy of that pronoun used to make my pulse skip. Now I watch Ethan's polished loafers pivot toward Isabella's office, and wonder when exactly our creation became his sole inheritance. Because of that incident, I developed severe stomach problems that persist to this day. Similar situations happened several times afterward. Ethan, being young and hot-headed back then, couldn't tolerate many things. Each time, I stood in front of him as a shield. I loved him, willing to do everything in my power to protect his life's work. How foolish I was then, thinking it was wonderful I could endure this suffering for him. Yet the same Ethan who swore never to betray me is now pushing me out of the company's power center. My voice trembled as I said, "Ethan, you know damn well how much I've sacrificed for this company. Why the hell are you doing this to me?" Ethan frowned impatiently. "I know you've contributed greatly, but everyone has. Constantly bringing this up is tiresome. Isabella just arrived and needs time to learn the ropes. Let her handle these clients first. Besides, why would a secretary need clients anyway?" "No." My response came cold and sharp. His eyebrows shot up at my refusal. Before he could respond, Isabella strode into the office. "If I were you," she sneered, standing beside Ethan, "I wouldn't make such a pathetic scene. This company belongs to Ethan. Without him, you're nothing." Her eyes narrowed. "Cooperate now, and you might keep your desk. Otherwise, pack your things immediately." Ignoring her, I locked eyes with Ethan. "Is this really your decision?" "Ms. Wright is vice president," he replied evenly. "Personnel decisions fall under her authority." After a long pause, I nodded. "I see." Ripping off my employee badge, I slammed it on his desk. "Save your termination paperwork." "I quit." Outside the office, several colleagues clustered by the door. Michael looked furious. "How dare they? I'm quitting too, I'll go wherever you go." Others murmured anxiously. "Emily, you built New Horizon from scratch. What do we do now? Work under that unqualified parachute?" Forcing a smile, I patted Michael's shoulder. "Don't be rash. You've got mortgages. I'll start my own venture and poach you later." Snowflakes swirled around the New Horizon skyscraper as I carried my box of belongings. The glowing windows blurred through my unshed tears. 9 years ago, we'd celebrated moving from dorm rooms to a tiny office near campus. Then to a 2-story storefront. Finally to this downtown tower. We'd sat cross-legged on empty floors, laughing through tears about becoming millionaires. I'd once been willing to die for this place. Now I walked away forever. Later, I heard Isabella called an intimidation meeting, warning staff they'd end up like Emily. Michael shot back. End up? You mean getting hired as VP at Xinglu with triple the salary? The meeting collapsed when Isabella stormed out, face green with rage. She underestimated my value. Even during New Horizons' early days, major firms had offered me six-figure positions. I'd refused them all, content with minimal paychecks while building Ethan's empire. Now freed from loyalty, I called Xinglu's CEO the next morning. Heard you're hiring. Interested? Alex didn't hesitate. We've been needing a VP. Start tomorrow. True to his word, he introduced me to every department next day. MS. Carter's authority equals mine. All teams will report to her immediately. At the welcome dinner that night, I raised my glass. Honored to join Xinglu. Alex. Looking forward to collaborating. His charming grin flashed. The honor's ours. Emily. Xinglu's lucky to have you. My new corner office surpassed expectations. Colleagues respected my industry reputation, no petty games from former rivals. Everything flowed smoothly until my first major project landed. When I opened the documents, I froze. This was the exact marketing collaboration project with the listed company Morningstar that I'd worked on at New City. The high-stakes deal held immense importance for several local corporations. Ethan didn't trust others with it. He'd made me personally oversee everything. I'd spent 2 weeks burning the midnight oil to craft that perfect proposal. Given Ethan's obvious favoritism toward Isabella, this project must have fallen into her lap now. White-hot determination surged through me. This would be my first project since leaving New City, my comeback. This time, I'd make them all see exactly what New City amounted to without me. On negotiation day, Alex accompanied me. We ran into Ethan at the entrance, Isabella trailing behind him like always. She frowned slightly upon seeing me. Ethan's expression turned complicated, his lips parting as if to speak. I walked past without sparing him a glance. The conference table felt foreign as we sat across from each other. My chest tightened. This was the first time I wasn't sitting by Ethan's side. Yet here we were as adversaries. How cruelly ironic. Morningstar's representative adjusted his glasses. This project holds significant importance for us. Let's review each proposal before deliberation. Isabella practically leaped up, clutching documents as she launched into her presentation. New City's precision marketing expertise is unmatched. Our past successes include the Lean Cuisine campaign that tripled market penetration within 6 months. And the Ruocha tea. I stared blankly at her. She was shamelessly claiming credit for every campaign I'd built from scratch. Then my blood ran cold. The proposal structure, the phrasing, this was my original document word for word. Whipping my head toward Ethan, fury burned my throat. He'd actually stolen my work, the proposal I'd entrusted to Michael before resigning, and handed it to his precious Isabella. 9 years as his most dedicated executive assistant. 9 years of loyalty. Even without affection. How could he betray our professional partnership like this? Ethan avoided my gaze, guilt written across his face. In that moment, every shred of respect I'd held for him evaporated. Morningstar's rep nodded approvingly as Isabella finished. Truly living up to New City's reputation. Excellent proposal. MS. Right. Thank you. Isabella preened without blinking. The representative turned to us. Now let's hear from Emily. Alex nodded encouragement. As I approached the podium, I knew my rushed proposal couldn't match the polish of my stolen work. The Morningstar team listened politely but unenthused. Before we conclude, I interrupted smoothly. I'd like to clarify something with MS. Right. Your proposal states New City operates 18 marketing agencies in S-City. Yet public records show only 8. Care to explain the discrepancy? Panic flashed across Isabella's face as she frantically flipped through pages. The error, a typo I'd never corrected before leaving, now hung like a guillotine. Strange. I pressed coldly. You can't even recall data from your own proposal? Or is this deliberate fraud to secure the contract? Morningstar's representative darkened. MS. Right? Explain. It must be a clerical error. Ethan cut in hastily. We actually have 8 agencies. Our track record was built entirely by me. My voice sliced through the room. Lean Cuisine. Ruocha. Aurora Apparel, every case study you just praised? Those were my campaigns. My sweat and tears. Alex smiled pleasantly. Allow me to introduce Emily, our VP who previously headed New City's marketing division. Every success story you've heard today? Those are her fingerprints. If you choose to partner with Xinlu, Emily will oversee the marketing campaign. When we left the building, Ethan's face was darker than charcoal. Morningstar had outright rejected New City's proposal and signed with us instead. New City has been a tremendous disappointment, Ethan said coldly, his tone cutting. This level of incompetence is unacceptable. We won't be considering future collaborations with firms that can't even keep track of their own subsidiaries. This project would determine which company dominated S-City's market share, making it crucial for both corporations. Ethan had invested months of preparation, meaning this failure would hit him particularly hard. During our relationship, he'd rarely experienced setbacks, which made this defeat even more bitter. As we exited, he fixed me with accusing eyes. Emily, you showed no mercy whatsoever. I arched an eyebrow. Business is war. Ethan. Since when did mercy factor into corporate strategy? His knuckles whitened as he clenched his fists. So a vice president position was all it took to betray what we had? You're more calculating than I realized. Studying his expression, I realized with startling clarity, he genuinely believed I'd wronged him. The absurdity made me laugh bitterly. Here's some free advice. Ethan, being incompetent is one thing, but being both incompetent and shameless? That's unforgivable. My gaze flicked to Isabella hovering nearby. You leaned on me for years while undermining me at every turn. Let this mediocrity steal my position. And now you dare play the victim? You disgust me. His face drained of color. For a man who'd always taken my loyalty for granted, this confrontation proved unimaginable. I turned away without another word. The moment he'd allowed Isabella to force me out of New City, whatever lingering affection remained had evaporated. Those 10 years together? Just smoke from a dying fire. Weeks later, Michael called fuming. Is this Columbia-educated genius or what? Isabella's proposal had more holes than Swiss cheese. Couldn't even get the damn numbers right. And refused to let us review it properly. Client walked, there goes 6 months of negotiations. She's alienated half our accounts, revenues down 40%. I said nothing, having predicted this outcome. When you love someone, you move mountains. I'd smoothed every obstacle in Ethan's path, curated flawless opportunities, made his successes inevitable. Without me, he's a rudderless ship. Avoiding him proved impossible in S-City's tight-knit business circles. Late October, Alex brought a concerning proposal, Jing City firm. Substantial budget. Their product looks solid, why not promote locally? After reviewing, I warned, the numbers don't add up. If their product's legitimate, why bypass Jing City's larger market? Days later, Alex confirmed my suspicions, shell company dumping defective inventory. Nearly walked into that landmine. Yet at the industry conference, I discovered New City had taken the poison chalice. Isabella clung to Ethan's arm, sneering, thought we'd collapse without you. Emily? This deal dwarfs anything you ever managed. Newsflash, the world keeps turning without your precious luck. Ethan watched silently. Let him learn the hard way, some lessons can't be taught. But New City was a company I, Emily Carter, had nurtured from the ground up. I truly couldn't bear watching it collapse like this. Ethan misunderstood my intentions. He stared intently at me. "Emily," he said, "I can survive perfectly well without you. You're not indispensable to me." I swallowed the words on the tip of my tongue and forced a light laugh. That's excellent news then. Over the following days, Ethan and Isabella radiated smug satisfaction. This was their first major deal since my departure, and they flaunted their success with obnoxious grandstanding. Every marketing agency under New City's umbrella worked around the clock promoting the product with desperate fervor. But the higher they climbed, the more brutal the impending fall would be. On a chilly autumn evening, the first explosive post exposing the product surfaced online. The promotional campaign had later expanded to include infant formula, and numerous babies were hospitalized with severe vomiting and diarrhea after consumption. Initially, Ethan's team managed to suppress the negative coverage through payoffs. But as more damning testimonies flooded social media, the situation spiraled beyond control. The true catastrophe struck in November when 2 toddlers developed respiratory failure after drinking the formula and died during emergency treatment. The public outrage exploded like a hornet's nest stirred with a stick. News outlets and websites universally condemned the scandal, exposing every dirty secret of the manufacturing company and dragging New City's reputation through the mud for promoting such lethal products. How dare they profit from children's lives? These executives should rot in jail. What kind of backroom deals allowed this poison to hit the market? Investigate them all. Shut down this heartless corporation immediately. New City became public enemy number 1. Most clients had already abandoned ship during Isabella's disastrous tenure, with many following me to Xinlu. The remaining partners rushed to terminate contracts amid the fallout. Ethan ran himself ragged begging for lifelines, but found no salvation. Just as I assumed New City would collapse under the weight of its failures, Michael showed up at my door. The man looked like death, warmed over, dark circles bruising his eyes. Skin sallow enough to rival a corpse. "This bad?" I blurted, genuinely alarmed. I knew it was serious. But Michael scrubbed his face with both hands. After a prolonged silence, he muffled a broken sound into his palms. "Emily, New City's finished." I frowned. "Can't you ride out the storm? The manufacturer bears primary responsibility here." His bitter laugh scraped raw. "It's not just the scandal. The whole operation's imploding." He leaned forward, elbows digging into his knees. After the news broke, panicking Isabella contacted some shady acquaintance for damage control. The idiot actually handed over confidential company files when they promised solutions. My breath caught. "That's corporate espionage." "Exactly." Michael's voice trembled with exhausted fury. "Turns out they weren't helping, they're gutting us while we're down. Every active proposal got leaked. Clients are suing left and right. Our reserves can't cover a fraction of the penalties." His red-rimmed eyes met mine. "We built New City over a decade. How did it crumble in weeks?" I had no answer. Nearly 10 years of my lifeblood poured into those offices, now collapsing like a house of cards. Why? Michael's fist slammed the table, rattling coffee cups. Why bring that incompetent Isabella aboard as VP? I thought he was sleeping with her. But he won't even take her calls. Who knows? I stared at my cooling tea. Ethan's motivations always eluded me. The steam curled upward, evaporating like my lingering attachments. Not that it matters anymore. Our conversation halted when Michael's phone erupted with chaotic shouting. Security camera footage showed New City's lobby overrun by furious clients and police officers. A panicked intern's voice cut through the bedlam. "Mr. Brown, the cops are arresting a mess. Right for corporate espionage. The whole building's in chaos, please come back." Through the screen, I recognized former partners waving termination papers amid the mob. The marble floors we'd chosen together now glittered under flashing police lights. They pointed at Isabella. Spitting curses, we shared our data with you for marketing purposes under a signed NDA. What's this bullshit about our latest product specs leaking everywhere? Who's covering our losses? Exactly. We had an ironclad agreement. Where's Emily? Things never went sideways when she handled our accounts. Since you showed up, our proprietary info's been flying all over the internet. Has New City Group lost its damn mind? Isabella's mascara streaked down her cheeks as she hiccuped hysterically. I didn't know. How was I supposed to know he was a fraud? This isn't my fault. Go after him instead. She kept repeating these two lines like a broken record until the clients lost patience. Bullshit. We entrusted the information to you, not some random con artist. Save your excuses for the cops. They started dragging her away as she desperately reached for Ethan. Ethan! Help me! I did all this for you. For the company. Spare us the act. The HR manager sneered. You've single-handedly tanked this company with your help. Consider this your resignation effective immediately. Isabella looked around frantically. But every employee glared at her with icy contempt. Their stable jobs had evaporated overnight because of her recklessness. Ethan, she pleaded through tears. He only stared back with pure revulsion before security escorted her out. The aftermath spread through corporate circles like wildfire. Every local company initiated emergency compliance audits and NDA reinforcement training, using New City Group's collapse as a cautionary tale. Despite Ethan liquidating his personal assets to cover penalties, the financial hemorrhage proved fatal. The once thriving firm sold for pennies on the dollar. New City Group was dead. Ethan's career was over. Isabella received a 3-year sentence for leaking trade secrets. Rumor had it she kept screaming about being framed during her perp walk. But even Ethan never visited her in prison. I took a personal day from Alex's firm, wandering aimlessly until my feet carried me to the familiar glass tower. The New City logo had been stripped from the FA. Day, leaving skeletal steel frames against the leaden winter sky. Ironic, the weather mirrored that bleak afternoon when I'd walked away from this place years ago. Now, no office lights pierced the gathering dusk, shoving numb hands deeper into my coat pockets. I stared until my eyes burned. From 20 to 29, I'd poured my youth into watching the startup evolve from college kid's pipe dream to 9-figure enterprise. This skyscraper had housed my aspirations. The crusade I'd planned to devote my life to. Now I stood witness to its necropolis. Exhaling frosty breath onto my reddened knuckles, I ducked into the grungy dumpling shack nearby. The owner brightened upon recognizing me, wiping down a sticky table with his rag. Long time no see. Still doing the mild spice? I nodded, settling at the same wobbly table where Ethan and I used to split cheap beers during our bootstrap days. He'd get tipsy after one bottle, cheeks flushed as he slurred about NASDAQ bell-ringing ceremonies. We'll do it together. You'll see. I'd tease him about counting chickens, but his eyes would sparkle under the flickering bulb like he truly believed it. After we ring that bell, the noisy kitchen always drowned out his mumbles. We'll what? I'd ask. But he'd just grin goofily. Now, nursing my lager alone at this grease-stained booth. The memory tasted bitter. How had everything unraveled so completely? The bell jingled as someone entered, bringing an icy gust. A figure slid into the seat across from me. The boss chuckled. You two used to come together all the time. Then you started showing up separately. I thought you'd broken up. Glad to see you're still together. Ethan didn't argue. Boss. A case of Tsingtao. Coming right up. He sat down casually, taking a swig from my beer. The icy carbonation made him grimace. I sneered. Too accustomed to fine whiskey now. Mr. Johnson? Can't handle beer anymore? Ethan remained silent. After a long pause, he murmured without looking up. Emily, do you think I'm pathetic? A complete failure? Was that ever in question? I scoffed. His bitter laugh sounded more like a choked sob. New city's gone. I had to sell it. I know. I always thought, maybe I could manage without you. His voice cracked. That I didn't need your protection anymore. I took another drink. The cold liquid doing nothing to ease the ache in my chest. The skewers lay untouched as Ethan kept drinking. His alcohol tolerance had always been poor, and the rushed gulps soon left him glassy-eyed. For a fleeting moment, the sharp-suited executive before me overlapped with the memory of a white t-shirt-clad youth who'd vowed to take us public. That Ethan had vanished long ago. The current version couldn't lead anyone to an IPO more likely to plan my funeral. Only alcohol could resurrect these ghostly fragments of our past. Emily, do you know why I brought Isabella back as VP? I considered. Because I threatened your position. That's what I realized later. We're adults, this isn't some first love fairy tale. Even if there were feelings, he'd never risk the company. You just needed to remove me. Ethan's laugh turned jagged. No. I wanted to prove I could stand without your shield. Remember when they made you drink that night? As if I could forget. My stomach still twinged at midnight. You weren't much of a drinker either. His hazy gaze seemed to pierce through time. When they wheeled you into the ER, the doctor handed me a death notice. I wanted to burn the whole company down. Just wanted you breathing. The beer turned acrid in my mouth. His words threatened to breach emotional levees I'd spent years reinforcing. Ethan crushed his empty can. Eyes bloodshot. I felt so worthless. Making you take those hits for me. I chose that. I whispered. I loved you. Couldn't bear seeing you hurt. And you think I could? The raw outburst startled us both. All these years, it wasn't rejection. I felt unworthy. What kind of man needs a woman's protection? I kept thinking if I worked harder, grew stronger, maybe I could shelter you instead. His voice fractured. I just didn't want you standing in front of me anymore. A 30-year-old executive sobbing in a roadside barbecue joint. I let the cold brew sear its path downward, buying time before responding. Don't romanticize it. Maybe 10% was noble intention. The rest? Pride. You couldn't stand being eclipsed. Whether Isabella or some other pawn. I had to go. Ethan's silence confirmed more than any argument. I drained my last bottle and stood. Boss? He's paying. The boss grinned. You got it. I grabbed my coat and pushed through the door curtain. Snow had begun falling unnoticed outside. Goose feather flakes swirling in the wind, glowing amber under surrounding lights. Ethan's trembling voice stopped me. Emily, if I said I was wrong, would you come back? I didn't answer, letting the curtain fall as I stepped into the blizzard. In late January, as I prepared my resignation, Michael called. His voice carried exhaustion and something indefinable. Ethan's been in an accident. How bad? My grip tightened on the coffee mug. Long silence. They had to amputate his leg. His arm, they reattached it. But the doctors say he'll never lift more than a grocery bag. The world blurred. How? Drunk driving on the highway after drowning his sorrows. Michael's voice cracked. With New City gone, you should see him. I sat stunned at my desk all afternoon. Phantom images of bloodied Ethan haunting me. How would that prideful man endure permanent disability? Yet after agonizing, I decided against visiting. Our rivalry had burned too bright from teenage comradeship to bitter enmity. Whatever unspoken thing between us had already shattered beyond repair. Let it end here. I murmured to the crimson sunset outside. Some mistakes shouldn't be revisited. When submitting my resignation, Alex pleaded. Is it the salary? Benefits? We can adjust anything. I smiled ruefully. The company's been wonderful. Alex. I just need space. Take all the time. He sighed. Chengdu's doors stay open. I wandered. Chengdu's spice markets. Hangzhou's misty lakes. Mongolian grasslands stretching to eternity. Tibetan prayer flags snapping in thin air. Maldives' bioluminescent shores. Egyptian pyramids burning under white sun. European cathedrals echoing centuries. For the first time, I lived. Danced under Icelandic auroras. Galloped across Patagonian wilderness. Slept beneath Saharan stars. Life wasn't just spreadsheets and boardrooms. In August's swelter, Michael texted, "Turned into a travel influencer yet? Time to rejoin the corporate slaves." I snorted. Says the unemployed guy. Miss getting coffee orders? Damn right. When you coming back? The crew's ready to rebuild. Smiling at my luggage, I typed, "Start polishing the champagne flutes." Just landed. Beyond the terminal windows, dawn's golden fingers stretched across tarmac. Somewhere in the distance, Nasdaq's bell waited.